Hello and welcome to week 3 of the BMW 12.0 challenge in iRacing. Now, I grumbled a lot last week about the suitability of Oran Park for the M4, and this week we're at Oran Park, which is equally as bad. It's narrow, it's tight, it's twisty, and it has a section of track that we're just coming up to here in free practice that caused me no end of trouble. Trying to get my acceleration right over the crest of that hill was an absolute nightmare. The car just wants to take off and you lose all traction, and that was just one of many crashes that I had while trying to get to grips with the track. And it wasn't just me either. This incident happened right in front of me in free practice, and it was two cars making exactly the same mistake. Just a little bit too much gas as you reach the top of the hill, and the car takes off. But seriously, I lost count of the number of drivers who crashed out here during open practice. It resembled a game of Wreckfest more than it did iRacing. So, as we head over to the rolling start for my first race, I've really only got one thing on my mind at this point, and that is getting up and over that hill in one piece. Now, I actually put it 9th on the grid, so it was a fairly decent qualifying session, and I was happy with that. And as the lights go green and we get on the gas, the field does spread out a fair bit, so I'm actually heading into turn 1, feeling fairly comfortable that it's not going to be too crowded and that I'm not going to get bashed around too much. As you can see, I kept it as tight as possible, and I did let one place slip by, but I wasn't worried about that. I wanted to keep it safe and not ask too much of the cold tyres, as we see someone on the left there slipping out onto the infield. And once you get on the grass here at Oran Park, it's so difficult to get off it again. The cars are so tough to control, and as you can see on the right, someone else has run wide. But now we're fast approaching the Hill of Doom for the first time, so all my focus now is on getting that acceleration exactly right. But unfortunately, there's a huge crash in front of me, and I just don't get past in time before I get clipped. And that contact sends me into the barrier, and for the second week in a row, my race is over within half a lap.
You'll need a tow back to pit lane. Press and hold the reset button and we'll come and get you.
So yeah, I felt really unlucky that I got tangled up in that first lap incident at Oran Park last week, and similarly here. I mean, the cloud of smoke was a giveaway that something big had happened in front of me, and maybe I should have eased off the gas rather than trying to gun it around the outside and get around it. But you can see how minimal the contact was. I was literally a millisecond from getting around safely. And you can also see what absolute carnage it caused if we rewind and watch the incident again from the car that crashed to begin with. Hit the wall incredibly hard, just clips me there, but takes out several other cars afterwards. So a lot of races got ruined on that first lap. Now, much like last week, I didn't want to quit. I wanted to get back out there and finish the race. So as soon as my repairs were done, we were back out on track, and by lap 10, we'd worked our way back up to 14th and we're closing in on 13th. But as we head to the Hill of Doom again, keep your eyes on the rear view mirror. Someone else crashing out. That was actually a lap driver, Joshua Addison, who was pushing hard to unlap himself and paid the price by getting a bit too greedy on the gas there. And he becomes the latest in a long line of victims at that uphill section. But as we begin the approach to start our last lap, you'll see that Anthony in front just ran a little bit wide there, and all of a sudden I'm right on his tail, and this is the closest I've been. So with one lap to go, I've got a real chance of gaining another position and at least salvaging a 13th place. I get a good drive out of the final turn, and I try and get in his draft, but I'm just not close enough. So I move over to the inside, and it's not a serious overtaking attempt. That was more just to see if I could spook him, maybe get him to leave me a bit of space, but that didn't work either. Although he does run a little bit wide there, and he just clipped the grass, and it's so easy to lose it there, so he was perhaps a little bit fortunate to stay on the track. But yeah, I'm all over him. But again, because Oran Park is so narrow and tight, it's so difficult to find a way through. And guess what? Now we're coming up to the Hill of Doom again. So who's going to make the mistake? Me or Anthony? Yeah, it was me. And it was always going to happen as well when I was just pushing that little bit harder to try and find a way round. Fortunately, although we span out in spectacular style, we did manage to avoid the wall, so there was no damage to the car. So that helped me get back on track fairly quickly, and we only lost a couple more positions. But it certainly wasn't what you'd call a successful race. So I dusted myself down, and I've come back to do qualifying for another race. And as you can see, we've just put it 10th on the grid. A decent qualifying time of 54.8. I was happy with that. And we're going to be in the middle of the pack, so I really need to be aware of what's going on around me, particularly when we get to that uphill section. So can we do any better? Let's go to the grid and find out. Okay, we're underway, and we're on the outside line this time, so I've really got to concentrate coming into turn 1. I don't want to drift too wide, because if I just clip that grass, it'll be game over early, and someone else has. And that's what happens if you run a little bit wide, you get onto that grass, and it's so difficult to get back off it. We've gone very cautiously through those first couple of turns, but I'm not too worried about that. Main thing was to get through in one piece, which we have done. But now we've got to climb the mountain. Let's hold on tight, boys. Someone might have crashed even before we've got up it. Oh, and there's another big accident in front of me. The same thing's going to happen again. Oh, we've made it through, I think. I heard some contact, but I think it might have been the car behind me that got clipped. And if that's the case, we've got away with one there. It was almost a carbon copy, an exact repeat of what happened a race ago. Man, no damage except to the underwear. Oh, we're losing someone else at turn 1. Got it all out of shape there. So the relative board has us in 9th place, but by my reckoning, we're up to 8th now after that spin. So yeah, really encouraging start to build upon. And I'm still thanking my lucky stars that we're even on the track after what happened at this hill a lap ago. It was unbelievable that we managed to get around that. So let's go back and take a look at the replay and see exactly how close we were. First of all, watch the car on the outside. He takes a massive punt there, which puts him out into the wall. And that was the incident at the bottom of the hill. But then, yeah, if we keep our eyes in the background, there are 2 cars going out into the wall, coming right back into the track. Oh, we didn't quite see how close we were there, so let's wind it back and focus on the 2 cars that caused the melee. They're going to lose control at the crest of the hill there. Hit the wall, and now keep an eye out for me coming in the background. There I am, I just get around, and yes, it was the car behind me that got clipped. And it looked like he picked up some wheel damage as well, so I was so lucky. This was the on-board view from the incident. It looked like both drivers made exactly the same mistake at exactly the same time. And it caused mayhem. And this was the spin at turn 1 at the start of the second lap. That's what gave me another position. Just a slight lift of the throttle is all it needs at the top of that hill to keep it steady, but I'm just not confident. I don't know where the limit is. I don't know whether to take it in 3rd gear. I don't know whether to take it in 4th gear. I think it might be costing me a bit of time each lap. Just that hesitancy. But we're actually looking reasonably comfortable at the moment. Just a little bit offline there. My heart fluttered a little bit when I clipped that curb. I didn't want to go onto the grass. We got away with it, but it does mean I can see Pascal a lot more clearly in my rear view now. He's getting closer. Clip the inside curb a little bit as well. That adds even more complication to that mountain. If you clip the inside curb, it unsettles the car even before you get to the crest of the hill. Makes it even more difficult. So yeah, we're just starting to get a little bit out of shape as Pascal turns up the pressure behind. I was a little bit wide running out of the final turn there as well, but we're okay. We need to settle down. Start hitting the lines, hitting the apexes again. Pascal's right behind me now. So I'm going to have some work to do to defend this 8th position. Right, let's keep it together over this bit. It's okay, Pascal doesn't seem to have gained much time over the hill. Took that final turn better this time, happy with that. I've opened up a little bit of a gap on Pascal now. Oh, but might just have been a bit late on the brakes and it has sent me wide. We've managed to stay off the grass, but it's opened up a huge gap. And I couldn't do anything about that. Rolled out the red carpet for Pascal there to come right by me. Yeah, I used the distance markers on the left of the track as my braking point at the end of this start-finish straight. The number 3 is my braking point, and I think I was just a yard or two too late, and luckily we didn't clip the grass because that would have been a complete disaster. But yeah, we did lose all momentum and gave Pascal the easy pass. Oh, I was a little bit worried there that Tilmany behind was going to have a sneaky look up the inside in that final turn. He certainly thought about it, but I'm glad he didn't. And I think it might have cost him his exit speed on that corner as well, because we've pulled away. And Pascal in front has run a little bit wide there. Is that going to let us get back a bit closer to him? Possibly a little bit. Might have gained a tenth or two. That's a lap driver, so let's hope we can both get around him safely. Yeah, we have done. Navigate that hill again, just looking behind. It looks like Tilmany got around that back marker okay too. So he's right back with us now, and he comes really close. It looks like he might have run a bit wide there. Yeah, he has done. He's dropped down a position. Yeah, Tilmany's tucked himself right in behind me there, but he just clips the inside curb there, and that might have unsettled him enough to run wide, and he whacks the tyre wall. And oh, he's really lucky he doesn't collect anyone else there. That's a really unfortunate place to crash right on the crest of that hill. Well, it looks like Naney might have run a little bit wide behind me there. Looked like he went out onto the grass. And yeah, he has lost a position, so now it's Joshua Addison behind me. And I recognise Joshua's name. He was the back marker from the previous race who was trying to unlap himself and crashed on the hill section. And he's within a second of me now, and I know from the previous race he had decent pace. Only this time he's not going to be trying to unlap himself if he gets up behind me. He's going to be trying to make a move for 9th position, so I'm going to have to be ready for that attack if it comes. Given how determined he was to try and unlap himself in the previous race, I'm sure he'll be even more eager to make up another position. Oh, there's big contact from behind there. Oh, he came out of nowhere. And the worst possible part of the track to try and pull a move like that. I could have ended up anywhere, but thankfully we stayed on track. I think I might have clipped the dirt, but we've got away with that one. That was way too close for comfort. Pretty sure the next lap's going to be the last lap, and I want to try and get a little bit of a gap between myself and Joshua, because I don't feel confident having him close behind me. I really don't want this race to end in tears now. We're so close to the finish and we're going to get a top 10 position. I'm already worrying with what's going to happen here after last lap. Let's just hope we both get through it safely. He comes up close again. He's obviously got a bit more corner speed than me through there, but thankfully there's no contact this time at least. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last lap coming up, so let's try if we can to get a good exit out of this turn. Open up a little bit of a gap. Joshua's still fairly close, but he's not close enough to try a move, so I'm going to take the defensive line. Make sure there's no gap up the inside. Ah, man, you've got to be kidding. Oh, I really didn't feel safe with Joshua behind me. I feared that something like that might happen. And it has done on the very last lap. And it's cost me a top 10 finish. I don't know what position I'm in. I don't know how many cars went by while I was on the grass there. But just looking at the relative board, 12th and 11th are in front of me. So I could be as low down as 13th now. I don't think Joshua got on in front of me at least. This is a really frustrating end to what was looking like a promising race. Got Nicholas fairly close behind now as well, but I don't think he's going to have enough track to get by me before we cross the line. And what do we end up? 11th. Oh, so it could have been worse. But it's still not the top 10 finish that I wanted. And I don't think I did anything wrong there in that first turn, but we'll need to look at the replay to get to the bottom of it. And this was a couple of laps earlier, and this was the first warning sign that something like this might happen. I mean, it's clear that Joshua's carrying more corner speed than me there, but that's not the point of the track where you want to make contact with someone. As we watch on board from Joshua's view. And then as we start the final lap, I was desperate just to open up a little bit more of a gap because I really sensed that something like this might happen. Now, was it me who broke a little bit earlier? Let's look for the brake lights. Both on at exactly the same time. So it certainly wasn't me braking early that caused that incident. So I hope that clears me of any blame. As I give him another tap as I'm trying to get back onto the track. That wasn't deliberate, believe it or not. It may have looked like it, but it wasn't. Right, back on board with Joshua, and really I'm expecting him to pull alongside me if he's thinking about making a move. Had he done that and got alongside me, I would have given him the space that he needed. But he was nowhere near making a move, so I thought I had the right to take that inside line. Joshua clearly had other ideas. One final look from up above. And really, I think I'm of the opinion that this is an example of a driver using his hot lap braking point without any consideration of what's in front or around him. I'd love to hear what you guys think. So please do leave a comment and tell me what you thought of the incident. And in the meantime, we'll look at the results and see a slightly disappointing 11th place for me there. But 37 championship points isn't that bad a haul, actually, all things considered. And had it not been for that last lap incident, I would have got 0 incident points as well. So there's plenty to be optimistic about. But that's it for me in the BMW 12.0 challenge until next week. And I'll be back later this week with a couple of race room videos. So until then, take care, guys, and see you soon. Cheers.